It was a chilly morning at Freedom Park in Charlotte, North Carolina, when I first saw him. I was just finishing my usual morning walk when I noticed the little German Shepherd puppy. At first, I thought he belonged to the man jogging ahead of me, who had a black lab. But when the man turned the corner, the puppy didn't follow. Instead, he stood there, confused, with his tail still wagging. He looked like he was waiting for someone, but no one stopped. He wandered around, trotting up to every person in sight. A jogger, a dog walker, even a woman pushing a stroller. He followed them all, looking up at them with innocent eyes, hoping someone would call his name. But no one did. I watched him as he moved from one person to the next, sniffing bags, wagging his tail, as though he was sure that someone had just forgotten about him. There was no fear in him, not yet at least. Just confusion. It broke my heart. I was halfway through my walk, and I hadn't yet realized how much this little puppy was affecting me. He was about 4 or 5 months old, with a soft sable-colored coat, ears too big for his head, and paws that seemed too big for his legs. He didn't have a collar or tags. He was just alone. I noticed a man tossing a tennis ball to his retriever, and when he saw the puppy, he commented, "He's been doing this all morning, just following people like he belongs to everyone." That's when I really looked at him. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't frantic. He was just lost. He came up to me next, sitting down at my feet like we'd known each other forever. Those big, trusting eyes looked up at me, and in that moment, I couldn't turn away. I bent down, and he immediately leaned into me, pressing his body against my leg as if he was afraid I might disappear too. His fur was warm from the sun, but there were bits of leaves tangled in it, and he smelled like someone who hadn't been indoors for days. I told myself not to get involved. We're not ready for another dog, I thought. We had lost ours a year ago, and the grief was still fresh. But as I watched this little guy, his tail thumping gently against the ground, I knew I couldn't just leave him behind. He looked at me like I was the only solid thing left in his world. I pulled out my phone and took a picture. I sent it to my wife and son in the family group chat with a simple question, "Do we bring him home?" I waited, staring at the screen. No answer yet. Behind me, I felt the puppy curl up against my side. He had made himself comfortable, resting his head on my thigh. He wasn't asking for anything. He was just hoping, still believing that someone would care. My phone buzzed. A message from my wife, "David, we can't just bring home a stray." Then my son replied, "But look at him. He looks like Lexi when she was little. Please, can we just keep him for a day?" The puppy looked up at me, his tail thumping once. He knew. He knew that maybe, just maybe, this could be his chance. "Okay, buddy," I whispered. "Let's find out if anyone's looking for you." We drove to the closest vet clinic, hoping for some clue. When they scanned his neck, they found nothing, no microchip, no ID. They checked him over quickly. He was a little underweight, some small scratches on his legs, but nothing too serious. The receptionist handed me a flyer to post online. "Strays like him don't usually last long out there," she said quietly. "He's lucky someone stopped." Back at home, I posted his picture, his details, on every lost and found page I could find. I called Animal Control, the shelter. We waited. Buddy didn't bark or scratch at the door. He just curled up in the backyard under the old oak tree, like he had always belonged there. The next day, my son came home from school and ran straight outside. "Dad." He plays fetch. And just like that, Buddy had already found his way into our hearts. He dropped the tennis ball at my feet, sat, and tilted his head, waiting for more. We started calling him Buddy. It wasn't planned, but the name stuck. It just felt right. The days passed, and as we got to know him, we noticed something else. He didn't demand anything from us. He didn't beg for food, didn't chew on anything he shouldn't. He was calm, quiet, just happy to be with us. But even though he was so easy to love, I still told myself that we were just giving him a safe place to stay until we could find his owner. He wasn't really ours. He couldn't be. One night, as we settled into bed, I heard the softest, most heartbreaking whimper coming from the laundry room. I went to check, and Buddy was crying. Not barking, not howling, just a soft, confused whimper. I sat beside his crate, resting my hand through the bars. After a few minutes, the crying stopped. I didn't know what we were doing, but I knew this little guy needed us. He wasn't just a stray. He was searching for love, and maybe, just maybe, he'd found it with us. A few days later, my wife and I had a conversation. The questions we had been avoiding were finally being asked. Can we keep him? My wife, exhausted from the pain of losing our previous dog, wasn't sure if she could bear the possibility of losing another. But as we watched Buddy, calm and content in our home, we knew we had already started the process of falling in love with him. We drove to the pet store that afternoon. Leash, collar, food, and a tag that read, Buddy. The next morning, as Buddy trotted into the yard, it became clear that he had already found his place with us. No more waiting. No more searching. Buddy was home. It wasn't just about the things we could give him, food, shelter, toys. It was about the quiet way he loved us. He didn't demand affection. He simply gave it, expecting nothing in return. We took him to the vet again, just to be sure. The vet confirmed that Buddy was healthy, despite being a little underweight. She also noted the small scars on his legs, probably from trying to follow a moving car. That was when we realized how lucky we were. This puppy had never shown anger, not once. Despite everything he'd been through, he had chosen us. And we had chosen him right back. The days passed, and Buddy became more and more integrated into our family. One day, as my son was playing outside, Buddy saw him about to run into the street after a ball. Without a second thought, Buddy lunged, cutting my son off and knocking him out of harm's way. He wasn't just a puppy, he was a protector. As the weeks went by, Buddy settled in completely. He stopped looking over his shoulder, stopped waiting for someone to come and claim him. He knew he was home. Our neighbors started to notice too. One woman said, "He's changed the whole block. He makes us all feel like we're watching over him now." And it was true. Buddy had brought us all together. Buddy didn't need to be the center of attention. He didn't bark for it. He simply existed in a way that made you feel softer, made you feel more connected to the world around you. One evening, my son was struggling with homework, frustrated near tears. Buddy walked over, sat beside him, and gently laid a paw on his knee. My boy smiled, hugged him, and for a moment, everything in the world made sense. Buddy hadn't just found a family. He had become the glue that held us all together. And we couldn't have asked for anything more. And so, Buddy's journey from being lost and abandoned to becoming an irreplaceable part of our family reminds us that sometimes, the ones who seem the happiest are the ones who've been hurt the most. This little German Shepherd puppy didn't just come into our lives as a rescue. He came in as a reminder that trust isn't given, it's earned. That healing doesn't begin by fixing, it starts by staying. Buddy didn't ask for food, shelter, or love. He just stayed close, quietly hoping that one day we would see what he already knew, that he belonged.